Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another guide. Today we're going to do a lore guide. Lore excels at rushdown, chipping away at your opponent's health bar until they make a mistake and get launched, and then you start the pressure all over again. DSS, loads of rushdown stuff. So this is where lore excels. This is his game plan, generally speaking. Lore is very tricky to play against, and unlike in Tekken 7, he is much easier execution-wise and game plan-wise. If you like the video, leave a like, and if you're new here and you want to find your way back, hit the subscribe button down below. So, lore. In Tekken 7, he was very difficult to play. He was complex, he had stances with his DSS, and he had a crouch stance. He had multiple setups, some of which work in Tekken 8, some of which do not. He had a counter-hit Magic 4 in Tekken 7, an 11 frame standing 4. See how it says 13 frame there? It was 11 frame in Tekken 7. That was a counter hit launcher, so the game plan is slightly different. His execution in Tekken 7 was very difficult. His game plan was more complicated, and he was much riskier because usually what you do in Tekken 7 is when you do DSS like this with 4-3 rather than doing while standing 4 DSS, which is what you do mostly in Tekken 8. We'll get into that. And in Tekken 8, the differences are he's still got a somewhat complex moveset. There's a lot of moves you want to be using. He has a game plan that's a lot easier and a safer game plan. He has much easier execution because the execution barrier for DSS is basically taken away. Like it's very easy to do now, so don't worry about difficulty with that. And now his Magic 4 is gone, so some of the setups that used to lead into Magic 4 in Tekken 7 are now gone. In general, his strengths, DSS is easy and very strong, very strong. His punishment is very strong. He has above average damage in combos. He has plus frames all over the place. Easy-ish execution. There's some tricky stuff some places. He has a very good 50-50. He has lots of pokes, including a lot of low pokes, really great lows. His wall combo is very good, especially if you do a bound at the wall. He's pretty safe, safer than Tekken 7 anyway. His pressure tools, like mix-up tools, are very good. And he still has pretty good counter-hit launchers and just counter-hits overall. And his O-key is very good as well. His weaknesses are, there is some risk with highs if you're doing 4-3 DSS. And he's pretty linear. So a bit of anti-lore before we get started. If you're struggling and he's doing all this stuff all over the place, try and step him. He's pretty linear. Like most of his moves are very linear unless he does, you know, a homing move. Right, we're going to start off with heat engagers. 1-1-1 is a heat engager. Back 1-2-2 is a heat engager. Upward 3, a very good heat engager. Forward 3, Power Crush, but it's also a heat engager. DSS forward 3, which is the same as forward 3. Don't worry if you don't understand what DSS means. We will go through all of DSS stuff. And DSS forward 1 is a heat engager. Right, so onto the pokes. So we have a long list of pokes. Okay. We're going to go through the normal moves first, not including moves that lead into DSS. We'll cover them afterwards. Okay, so normal pokes. 1-1-2, also a 10 frame punish. It's -6 on block. It's high, but it's -6 on block, so it is safe. It's a decent punish it's a decent string to use because not many people duck this. Has alright range. Lore has a pretty good jab. You can mix this up with like 1-2-3, 1-2-2-2, back 2-2, 2-2-2, 1-2-2, 2-2, 1+2, and 1-2-2, 1+2. Okay, there's a lot of jab strings. Okay, the 1-2-3 is good for range because usually people see the first 2 hits and then they try and press. Get counter hit by the third, which gives you more plus frames. Plus 13, which is very good. Also, some of these strings in fact, most of these strings I just told you, if you hold forward, you get DSS, but we'll cover that later in the moves leading to DSS. Okay, so don't worry about that yet. We will go over that though. And for 2-2, 1+2, and 1-2-2, 1+2, the last 2 hits of each of these, you can hit confirm on counter hit, but it is difficult. Next, we have 1-1-1, his heat engager. Mix this with 1-1-2 because 1-1-2 is high and 1-1-1 is high mid. So it's a pretty good mix to do. Also, hit confirm this on counter hit. You can hit confirm. So if you see the first hit and you notice that the opponent is pressing, as long as you do 2 1s, you can do the last one slightly later and you will be able to hit confirm it. There we go. You can hit confirm it. Also, 1-1-1 is a heat dash launcher in heat. 2 back 2, 1-2. This one. The first 2 hits for back turn. You press nothing, you're in back turn. Hold down back afterwards to get out of for like a crouching recovery. Also, if you just press back, he just goes normally. Super delayable. The last 2 of this is a counter hit launcher. It's very good. So delay those, mix your opponent up with those. And also, if the last 2 hits on normal hit, you can actually get a guaranteed 3+4-4. It's a little tricky, but you can get it. There we go. You can get that guaranteed. Sort of depends on range a little bit, but you can actually get that. Right, next, 3+4-4. This is his 14 frame launcher. Sorry, I'm talking about Tekken 7. In Tekken 7, this was his 14 frame launcher. In this game, it does not launch, but it is hit confirmable. It has super good range. It can punish Paul's Death Fist for moves that have a lot of pushback. You can also threaten the last hit, you know, do this a couple of times, and then next time you add the last hit. It does chip damage on block, but be careful because the last hit is a high. And if the player's good and they know the matchup, they will definitely duck that and launch you. Forward 1+2. One of Law's best moves in Tekken 7. Also one of his best moves in Tekken 8. +3 on block. It's a mid. It's also a counter hit launcher. Also, you can go to crouch if you just hold down. For slide mix-ups and while standing mix-ups. Forward 3+4. Pretty good Oki tool. I mean, be careful of tech rollers, you know. Law is very linear. It's good Oki. It low crushes, but it can be floated, obviously, because he goes airborne, so be careful of that. But it is mid, and it is also a counter hit launcher. Down forward 4 has very good range. You can threaten the 3 extension, although it's -14, so I would really stay away from flips. But it does counter hit launch, just for clarification. That does actually counter hit launch. But generally, I actually stay away from that because you can play Law a lot safer in this game. 4 up 3. -1 on block. You had a lot of setups for this in Tekken 7. Be careful. Can be floated in between the kicks. Even though it is -1 on block. But, you know, a little setup here is you do down 2-3, right? Which we'll get into down 2-3. But it's a very cheesy flowchart setup that everybody's going to know about in higher ranks. 1+2, the nunchucks. Move is very good for Oki. It has really good range. Use at tip range. People cannot punish it, or people will struggle to punish it at least at tip range because it's only -13. It's also a counter hit launcher, and in heat it launches on normal hit, so it is good. It's very good. Just be careful at tip rate. Be careful of what range you're using it. Down back 2. You can also do down back 2-4, by the way. It's safe at -4, which is very good. Hold back or down back to get out of back turn. It's just a really decent tool. You'll see why when moves that go into back turn. We'll cover back turn later. Back 2. Good range, mid, 16 frames, safe on block. It threatens Junkyard, which we'll get into. But it's good for kind of mental frames because they're expecting the rest of the string, right? Okay, or, you know, this or this. But it is a good move. Back 3. Homing, mid. Pushback so they cannot punish it. It's really good for keep out. You can hold back for back turn as well. It's a very good move. Don't overlook this move. It might seem a little slow at 23 frames. But its range is very good. You can use it from pretty far away. You can use it from pretty far away. It's got good range. It's a decent move to use. Back 4-3. Generally, steer clear of doing the second hit of this. I would just stick with back 4 because this is his fast homing mid poke, right? 14 frames. It's very, very good. And you see it's -7 on block, so it's safe. It's very, very good. Hold back for back turn. If they're expecting you to do the whole string, you can hold back for back turn. And at the wall, you can do like a hard read for a good wall splat and get a juicy combo. Upward 1. 12 frame. Decent. It's -5 on block. But you always have you're always threatening the last hit. Upward 1-3. And that is -1 on hit, which is actually not bad for a string of this kind. Be careful though, if people see this animation, it's quite a unique animation. People who know the matchup well will be looking to parry that 3. Up forward 3. Safe, mid, fast, heat engager. It's very, very good. And also it does a heat dash combo in heat. Forward 2. Really good range. Threatening the 3, right? Also, you can hit confirm. Doesn't even have to be counter hit. You can hit confirm the 3. It's pretty easy to hit confirm that as well, so you should be doing that. It's a very good move to use. Obviously, it's mid as well, and it's -6 on block, and it's 14 frames. It's a very, very good move. Law has a lot of good buttons, as you're starting to see. While running 3. Just a generic while running move, +6 on block. It does chip damage. It is linear, so people will step that, but a very good move to have in his arsenal. Sidestep 2. Quite slow because you have to add on the sidestep to the frame, so it's really more like 20, 21 frames, 22 frames. It's quite slow. It is a mid though. It is neutral on block, so that's good. It also does chip damage, as you're seeing right now. Down forward 3. This is good at the wall, because what you can actually do is you can actually get a bound there. They can't do anything about that. It's also pretty hard to punish because you recover in crouch. If you're out in the open, not near the wall, has pretty decent pushback, right? And it's only -13. So not many characters will be able to punish that. Or at least not reliably anyway. They might have to use a very specific move to punish that. So yeah, down forward 3. Don't overlook it. Okay, right now, we're going to go through some of the low pokes. Low pokes, down 3. Hold down for crouch. You can just recover in crouch here. You see, it's a really weird animation. -3 on hit. 16 frames though. Decent range. It's a good low poke. Down forward 3+4. He instantly crushes highs when he does this. +4 on hit. It's a good move. But it is launch punishable. So be careful. It's also pretty fast as well at 18 frames. You can't react to that. Down 4-3. One of his best low pokes, or, you know, low starting strings. It is low-high. Downfall on its own is -11 on block. That's it. Only -11. And you can add the follow-up, right? Obviously, if you do the whole string, they can duck and launch, right? But if they're only ducking the 1, and you only do the 1, you're kind of safe. Yeah, it's -11. They can while standing for that. But they'll be waiting for the whole string. So It's a very, very good button to have, down 4. Just down 4 on its own. Obviously, down 4-3 is still very, very good as well. You shouldn't overlook that. Use that a lot. I use this very, very often. Down back 3, probably his best low. +3 on hit, 17 frames. Really good range. It's only -13 on block. So yeah, definitely use down back 3. It's one of his best, probably his best low, to be honest. Down 1 is the last low perk I'll talk about. It's very good because down 1-3 is the string, right? It's safe. Obviously, it's low-high, so they can duck. You're threatening the follow-up. The whole string guaranteed on counter hit, and the last hit does launch on counter hit as well. So there's something to be aware of there. It does high crush as well. Also, what you can do is you can do down 1. You can do down 1 and then hold down forward for slide step. Yeah, super easy mix up there. It's very, very, very good. For power crushes, back 1+2. Guaranteed Oki with 1+2. It is -14 on block. Doesn't have the best range, but it's still decent. And it is mid. Forward 3 is your other power crush. It's also a heat engager and a tip range. People can't really punish this because it's only -13. Some characters can, but a lot of characters cannot. So it is pretty good. Also, it does chip damage, so there's that as well. Right, now we're going to cover DSS. Okay, we're going to start off with the moves that lead into DSS. But first off, I just want to say you can do DSS manually. You can get into DSS manually just by inputting down 1+2, and you'll shimmy his shoulders like this, and you're in DSS. You have access to all of his moves. Okay, from DSS. Also, an important thing to note about DSS is when you're in heat. If you're in DSS, if you're in this stance, Law automatically parries highs and mids in heat, which is pretty insane. I'll just show you that now. So this is extremely strong. And he'll automatically do a grab. It's very, very strong. Bear that in mind. DSS is even stronger in heat. Very, very good. Right, so now, moves that lead into DSS. We have 4-3, hold forward, +8 on block. Super, super good. But beware there are highs. You can also do 4-3-4, hold forward. Still +8 on block, but you're adding a third high. So this is basic. This in Tekken 7, this was his main pressure tool for DSS. This was his main gateway into DSS that you used to use in Tekken 7. I'll cover his best DSS, his best move to transition into DSS right at the end of this section, but it's very, very, very good. But 4-3 is still super good to use. 4-3-4 DSS, you have a lot of frames to use, +8 frames. Super, super good. Forward 3-1, hold forward. This one has very good range. For a mid string that leaves you +4 on block and it's fast, has very good range. +4, it's not as much as 4-3 DSS, but it's still decent. Now I'm gonna cover the jab strings. 1-2-2-2. DSS -3. Back 2-2 -3. 2-2-2 -3. 1-2-2. 1-2-2. So these ones say -3, right? These are really the only time I'd really use these is if the opponent gets hit, but you can't really confirm if they're going to get hit or not. Or in most cases anyway. Or in heat, this is super good. Because remember that highs and mids are automatically parried when you're in the DSS stance. So these strings actually become super viable in heat. Forward 2-1. +2 on block. hold forward for DSS. You can actually do this move from DSS as well. You can actually do something like this. Believe it or not. You can keep doing it. Hold forward for DSS. It does chip damage on block. It has very bad range, so I would only use this at the wall or after 4-3 DSS, while standing 3 DSS, which will cover, or while standing 4 DSS. Because then you've closed the distance. And you also have enough frames to use it, because it is 19 frames. I mean, plus 8, 9, 1 frame difference. Plus 5. I mean, people usually aren't going to press when you're doing while standing 4 DSS or while standing 3 DSS. You can absolutely use this move, but it's good at the wall, and it does wall splat as well. I think it wall splats. It does wall splat, yes. Back 1, hold forward for DSS. Obviously mix this up with back 1, 2, 2. First off about this move, back 1, 2, 2. Remember, this is a heat engager. You can hit confirm this as a heat engager. I should have mentioned this earlier. You can actually hit confirm that. First hit is also safe, right? At -9. You can hold forward to go into DSS. If they try and press and you're in heat, you get an auto parry, so it's still very, very good. It's also got very good range. It is a mid, so that is good as well. Back 2, 3, 4. Junkyard, okay? Most people will parry the low 3, like the low there. So you have back 2, 1, but in this game it's launch punishable, so that's not really a viable mix-up anymore. I mean, it used to actually be mid-high in Tekken 7 anyway, so they've changed it to mid-mid, but it's -15, so it's very committing. You're committing to like a lot of risk doing this as a mix-up, doing Junkyard or back 2, 1. So what people usually do if they want to get this in is delay the 3, 4, right? Because if they just eat the low and miss the parry, you're +6, right? If you hold forward, obviously, from Junkyard to get into DSS, they're probably not going to interrupt it because they've seen this. Or what you can actually do on the other side of that is if you keep conditioning people to press after you do back 2, then the 3, 4 themselves will counter hit launch. Also, if you're delaying it, people will get counter hit launched as well. If the 3 hits and then you follow with the 4, it is a counter hit launcher. It's a pretty good move. Also, a side note, never ever do this. Just never do it. When you get up the ranks, people are never going to eat that ever. So just steer very clear from doing that string. Next we have forward 2, forward 1 + 2. Hold forward. This is good because you can mix this with forward 2, 3, which is a mid-high. And you can... The thing is with this move, you can actually interrupt this move with a jab. But if they're waiting for forward 2, 3, there's the mix-up, right? So it's very good. And obviously, hold forward for DSS. And there we go. While standing 1, you can hold forward for DSS. It's -4. But again, in heat, automatically parries. So there's that. And if you're not in heat, you can use this for mental frames because people are expecting while standing 1, 2. Which is safe on block, right? It's also mid-high, right? But if you do while standing 1, it's a good mix-up to get some like mental frames, or if you're in heat. While standing 3 automatically goes into DSS, +17 on block and +19 on hit. Very, very good move. It is high, so be careful, but it's fast enough that people won't be able to react to it. It's a super good move. One of his best DSS moves. Don't ignore this move. The last move leading to DSS is while standing 4. Hold forward again. +16 on hit. And +5 on block. 11 frames, okay? It's very fast. And also, on counter hit, you can still get the old while standing 4 counter hit DSS 3+4, 4. Although it doesn't yield you as much damage, it's still very good because DSS is much easier in this game. There we go. 4-hit combo. You can still do that. That is super, super strong. Okay, super, super strong. The lows that lead into DSS, you have sidestep 3, automatically goes into DSS. Super good low. Very, very good low. +7 on hit. And on block is -13. So it is good. It's still very, very good. Not launch punishable. So there's that. +7 is also a lot. So there's that as well. So now we've gone through the moves that go into DSS. We're going to go into what you actually do when you're in DSS. So for DSS, DSS 1, DSS 1 does chip damage, automatically goes back into DSS. So what you can actually do at the wall, if you're in heat, you can test people's patience by just pressing 1, 1, 1, 1, because it automatically goes back into DSS, and it's 12 frames. It is a high, and they can duck, but we'll get into how you can mix up DSS stuff, especially with this move. So it's kind of a parry bait as well. And it also goes back into DSS. You don't have to do that. You can do something else as well. DSS 2, high counter hit launcher, 14 frames, very good. +1 on block. It also has decent enough range as well. It's a very good move. It's pretty linear, but it's a good move. DSS 3, homing high, +3 on block. Pretty fast. Does chip damage. Very good move. DSS 4 is his only low from DSS. But that doesn't matter because he can go into slide stance from DSS, and I will tell you about that after this section. So he can mix different lows out of DSS. But this low is still very good. +6 on hit. And on block is -13, so it's not the worst. It is pretty good though. It's just not the best low, honestly, out of his whole kit. 1+2, you can do this from DSS. In fact, you'll be doing this a lot in combos as well, some of the combos. This move is just pretty good. You can bait DSS, people think that you're vulnerable. People try and press into you, or do like a keep out move, and you hit him with Kablam, counter hit launcher, and you get a big combo. DSS forward 1, we talked about this at the beginning. It's a heat engager. It does chip damage. It's safe now at -9, 14 frames, mid, safe, heat engager, chip damage. It's also a heat dash launcher as well. So it is very, very good. One of his best DSS moves, because you can do a massive launcher. Forward 3 from DSS is the same as forward 3 Power Crush, but with Blue Spark, you get extra damage with precise timing in Blue Spark. So Blue Spark with DSS, if you do the press the button after going into DSS quick enough, or with the right timing, with specific timing, like where you press the button just as he goes into the stance, you will get Blue Spark on some moves. You can get it with forward 3. You can also get it with forward 4. I would go for those, but just make sure you get the move out of DSS. Forward 2-1. Talked about this a minute ago. +5 on block. Hold forward to go back into DSS. It's very tricky. It makes it very difficult for your opponent to know what to do. Also, it is mid, so you use this stuff at the wall. It's very good at the wall. And also, DSS forward 4. If you know anything about lore, you'll recognize this move. Is Legend Kick. It's a high. Never do it from out here. Or if you do, just be sure that they're not going to duck. It is +7 on block, so it is very good. A classic extension from DSS that's been around for a long time. Right, so experiment with DSS. Look at the frames with what I've told you so far. Look at what you can get. Experiment with different setups. You can get a lot from DSS. But yeah, experiment with it, because the amount of setups and stuff you can do with DSS is kind of endless. There's so many different options. And that includes what I'm going to talk about next, which is Law's slide step, which is a new stance that he got in Tekken 8. So we can get into this stance through any DSS transition. So when he goes to DSS, if you hold down forward, he goes into this stance right here, okay? Where he kind of slides on the floor. He slides across the ground a little bit. He crouches and slides. You can do this by manually inputting DSS down 1+2 and then holding down forward. Or you can go into DSS here and then hold down forward. From any move that goes into DSS. This is where Law's mix-up potential gets kind of crazy. Okay, so you can get into this move through DSS, and there are a couple of exceptions. Down 1, hold down forward. Up 3, hold down forward. Up back 3, hold down forward. Those are the moves that you can get into slide from without going through DSS. But for everything else, you have to go through DSS for slide. You have to go through DSS for slide. And slide is actually probably simpler than you might think. So what you can do from slide stance, you can obviously press 3 and do the slide for guaranteed O key with 1+2. And the way you do this, you press back. The time is quite difficult. There we go. You can get that's guaranteed if you do it quick enough. You have to press back and then 1+2 really quickly. And what you can do from slide, and this is where it gets pretty disgusting. You can do any while standing move. If you just let go of down forward, you can do any while standing move. Okay? This is where while standing 4 DSS gets kind of crazy. So if you kind of do while standing 4 DSS, mix it up with slide, mix it up with anything really. This is where Law's mix is like pretty crazy in Tekken 8. So slide step is very, very good, and that's why the 4 out of DSS, this move, remember, it doesn't matter that that's his only low, because you know, you can just hold down forward and go into slide stance and do a slide mix-up, right? Or bait you to go into a slide and then, oh, while standing 1, oh, you're doing a slide? Oh, while standing 2, although that is 18 frames, but you know, you get the point, right? This is where Law chips away at the opponent's health bar like very quickly, but just by tricking them like constantly with this stance. Okay, so that's slide step. And then the last stance I want to cover is backturned, okay? You can get into backturn from 2 back 2. And then you just press nothing. You can get into backturned by down back 2. Also, the follow-up from this I didn't mention earlier, from down back 2. This is where backturned... I'll talk about that in a minute, actually. Back 3, hold back. And back 4, hold back. These are the ways you get into backturn with Law, okay? There aren't that many of them, but they're pretty powerful when we get into it, okay? So from backturned, 2-2, -14, right? Doesn't seem that strong. Well, you can hit confirm, even on normal hit. So it is very good. Also, it can't hit launchers. It's a counter hit launcher, the first 2. And because you can confirm the second hit, it makes the first 2 from backturn very, very good. Also from backturns, we have 1+2, homing high, +1 on block. It's okay. It's okay. You also have down 3, or down back 3, or down forward 3. In Tekken 7, this was pretty okay because it wasn't launch punishable. In this game, it's launch punishable and it's -4. So honestly, I would just stay clear of that, to be honest. You can do it occasionally if, you know, because It's one of your only lows. And also, on that note, steer clear of this move. Everyone will see that. People will react to that. And it's minus 13. It's not launch punishable anymore, but it's still not great. I mean, you can use it if you want. It's not the biggest risk, but I generally steer clear of this one. Just probably because in Tekken 7, it was launch punishable. But it's not great. Also, you have 9 frame up forward 4 normal hit launcher. It's your other like hop kick. Yeah, everyone has like a universal hop kick from Backturned. It's also minus 12. It's not crazy. It's not crazy punishable, so this is actually a pretty good move. And it's 9 frames, obviously, so... Okay, so that's Backturned, slide step, and DSS out the way. Hopefully, the DSS stuff and all of that makes sense. I promise you, the more you practice it, the more you use it, and the more setups you find, you will remember this stuff. It's not that crazy. You just have to go through it a little bit for a couple of days or so, and you will. It won't seem too daunting after a couple of days. Right, now moving on. Punishes. For 10 frame punish, we have 1-1-2. It's actually a pretty good range. Also, you can hold forward for DSS. Whenever you do a punish, it's worth just going into DSS, to be honest. Like a 10 frame punish, +7. Or even +6, but you're in DSS right now, so it's very, very good. Okay. Also, 1-2 up 3, hold down forward. You can do that as well as a 10 frame punish. I forgot to mention this one earlier as well. Sorry, Law has a lot of moves. If you hold down forward, the slide, or, you know, obviously from slide, you get while standing and everything like that as well. You can also do 1-2 up forward, 3-4, but to be honest, anyone with a brain cell who's encountered the Law matchup before will just block that. There's no way they're eating that. Okay, so for 12 frame is a very good punish. 3-4. Good range. 12 frames. Very good damage for 12 frames as well. But just make sure it's the right... Make sure you're using the right punish when you use it, because they're both high kicks. Every time Law does that second animation, the second high, it's either back 4-3, which ends in a high, or 3-4. So people will duck that and launch you. 13 frame, you have 4-3. This is great if you want like plus frames and mix up options off of it, and you don't want them to get knocked down. But obviously, 3-4 gives you more damage. It really depends on what you want, and if they're at the wall and you want a wall splat or something like that. For 14 frame, we still have 3+4-4. Decent damage, very good range. Doesn't launch anymore, of course, but it's still very, very good. 15 frames, we have a standard down forward 2. Safe, still decent range. Very good for sidestep launch. And if they block it, it's only -7. So, you know, it's a mid as well. And it's 15 frames, it's very good. Up forward 4 is your other 15 frame move. It's -13 though, so it's not safe. It does crush lows though. For 16 frames, if there's a lot of pushback, you can use 1+2. It actually does have pretty good range, and if people press from where the other Law is, it has like... I feel like it has like phantom range on this game. But it's still a very good move for pushback. I'd argue it's probably better than 14 frame, like in terms of range. I think it's probably about that. Either way, it's a good move to use, and also if people press again and it's not their turn, you get counter hit launch. You get a counter hit launcher, so you get a good combo. For 18 frames, you can use flips. Only use this. I say only. I mean, us Law players, we do use the flips occasionally. There we go, a bit party mode for a minute. Only really use the flips if you're punishing something that's -18, or do the second one and it's not launch punishable anymore, right? But the first one is launch punishable, so just be aware. To be honest, I would steer clear of using the flips. For crouching, for while standing punishment, we have while standing 4. While standing 4, DSS. Plus 16. Very good. You don't have to do DSS. You get while standing 4 as plus 7. But it's still good. Nonetheless, it's a very, very good punish considering you can get DSS of it. For 13 frame, we have while standing 1-2. Very good. Decent damage while standing 13 frame punish. Very good. For 15 frames, we have while standing 2. But it's minus 18. There is some pushback. But most people will launch that. Okay, so now, moving on to launchers. We already covered down forward 2. We covered up forward 4. We covered while standing 2. We have flips. We have 1-1-1. In heat, this is a launcher, heat dash launcher. We have down forward 4-3. On counter hit, this is a full launcher. And if the last 3 connects, it will launch on normal hit as well. Back 2-3-4, the 4 will launch on its own. And on counter hit, remember this is the launcher as well. Only really use this, as I said before, with if you delay 3-4. But you know, you can play how you want. I'm just telling you, it's just there. I'm just giving you a little bit of advice from playing lore a long time in Tekken 7. Everyone parried this low. Everyone. So one of the most well-known strings in Tekken. Sidestep 3+4. Very good. Sidestep built in. Is also 15 frame startup. And you get a very juicy combo. And you also get a double bound. That is not the optimal, by the way. But it's still 67 damage, right? It's very good. Forward 3+4. This is a throw that launches. You can actually use this as a 12 frame punish as well. If I get the opponent, if I get the other lore, plus 13, right? If I can get it. There we go. Do you see it said punish? It's hard to get the punish, but you can get it. Anyway, it's a good launcher. I'll show you the combos afterwards. Obviously, it's a throw and it's 12 frame startup. It's very, very good. Up 3-4. Very bad. You can sometimes use this to trick people if you have them second guessing everything they're doing because you've tricked them. You can use it, but I would steer clear most of the time. You've also got delay hop kick. Up forward 4. So up forward hold 4. Delay 4. Oh my god. There we go. Safer than flips at minus 13, but we've got better launchers. And also, if you block a staggered low, you might as well just do a flip kick. So that's the time you would do a flip kick. Moving on, counter hit launchers. We have down 1-3. The last hit does counter hit launch. I'm just going to turn counter hit on for this. The last hit does counter hit launch. Down 2-3. The legendary down 2-3. Okay. So this is launch punishable at minus 30, at minus 15, sorry. It's very fast. Starts up at 11 frames. It does actually have an 11 frame counter hit launcher. But it's launch punishable, right? You can also do this while crouching. But you can, there are some setups for this. That's a common setup. Just use it once in a blue moon. You know, if someone's spamming in your face, use that. But other than this, like, just be very smart about how you use down 2-3. But it is very fast, so it is actually pretty good. Forward 1+2. One of his best tools in the game. +3 on block. Also counter hit launches. It's very, very good. And it's a mid, of course. 4-3-4. You have to commit to 2 kicks before they actually float. If you only do 1, so he doesn't actually launch off the ground there, you have to commit to at least 2 kicks. He launched really weird though. But you can get a combo. And I messed up my DSS. Back to 3-4. Remember, that is a counter hit launcher. I've already talked about that. Forward 3+4. This is good for Oki. If people do get-up kicks, this will counter hit launch them. It's also just a pretty decent counter hit launcher. I mean, it is a bit slow at 25 and it can be floated, but it's still there if you want it. Back to 2 back 2 1 2. The last hit is a counter hit launcher. Be careful, most of those hits are high, so you know, just be careful about it. In fact, all 3 first hits are high. That's why delaying can be very good for that string. 1+2, of course, I've talked about this, is a counter hit launcher, and while standing 4-3 is also a counter hit launcher. -14, not very good. It's okay, but yeah, it's alright, but it's not the best. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the launchers like I did. I'm just going to show you the combo routes with the work with specific launchers like I did before with the Rainer guide. So yeah, I'm just going to do that for you now. Alright, so those are all the combos. Pretty simple route. Nearly at the end, we're going to cover throws next. Generic 1+3 and 2+4 throws. The 2+4 throw, if they stay on the ground there, you can actually just get Oki. If they don't tech roll, sorry, you do get this for free. Yeah, 1+2 for free. Forward 2+3. The I'm a Dragon throw has very bad range. No, it's super bad range. I would only use this at the wall, or if you're desperate to use it to break the floor on a floor break stage, then use this. Also, that's a 1 break, just for reference. Upward 1+2. The 1+2 break throw. You can actually extend this by doing 1+2, 1, 2, 1+2. Or you can just spam 1+2. You can just spam 1+2 when you're in this animation, and it will just come out, and you get 5 more damage. Forward 3+4, obviously the throw. Break with 1+2. Obviously break that with 1+2. And the DSS throws. Now we have upward 1+2 from DSS. Break with 1+2. Right, now last thing, parries. So back 1+3 is a punch parry. This is their punch parry. You hold forward, he goes into DSS. You get a guaranteed forward 1. You get a guaranteed DSS forward 1 out of this. I'm not sure if you get anything else guaranteed, but it's nowhere near as strong as it was in Tekken 7. In Tekken 7, you got a guaranteed DSS 1 forward 4 or DSS 1 forward 1. It's not as strong in this game, but it's still very strong. Also, he has a back 2+4 parry. This one where he goes do. And this automatically throws them after you parry them. Also, I think the parry animation, I think the parry window is actually bigger. It's a longer parry window. There's more frames where it's active. And also, in heat, DSS will automatically parry into a throw. Very strong for pressure and mind games, that one. Right, so that brings us to the end of the video. There was a lot to cover in this one. If you're still confused about anything, then let me know in the comments section and I'll address it. And if there's lots of confusion about lore, I might make a follow-up video going over very specific things that people aren't sure about, because DSS can be a little complicated, especially if nobody's played lore in any of the previous games. So that's going to be it from me. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.